So, um, after a while, after, we kind of figured out that we wanted to be in a relationship, of course, I introduced him to the girls. I wanted to make sure that, I felt comfortable with him being around them. And they just took to him. At some point, they weren't close to their father. He was still in South Carolina. He would come to Georgia once a month for reserve, but he just never found the time to be around the girls. So they took to him, and I'm sure because they were going to school and everybody else has a dad, and my dad is not around, and so they started calling him dad. Well, my mom told me, she said, I don't think that's a good idea. And I was like, I didn't tell them to call him dad. And I don't know why I didn't nip it in the bud. I probably should have. Once again, I don't do regrets, but if I could do things over, that would be one too. But they did at some point have a decent relationship. They both called him dad. And so after a while, we had just such a good friendship. We were probably better friends than we were anything else. We had the utmost respect for each other. We would say please and thank you. And, we did everything. He helped me with my wedding business. Literally, I had no problem out of him. He ended up moving in. My mom wasn't happy about that either, but he ended up moving in. Literally, he would call me and say, hey, my check is here. He would tell me to give him $20, $30, and he would give me the rest of his check. Now, I'm not saying that because he should have done that, but I'm just trying to give you some context so you'll understand later how things completely changed. So anyway, my mom started to get dementia and then turned into Alzheimer's. And so that was a struggle. They didn't get along. And I don't know. I felt like I was caught between my mom and my boyfriend at the time. And, my mom was my main priority, but I still wanted a life. And so, what do you do? So anyway, my mom consistently got worse. And so I had to make the hard decision to put her in a nursing home. And the only reason I did, one, I had a hard time with it. And honestly, I probably still struggle with it. And she will be gone 21 years next month. But I struggle with it because I had promised her that I would never put her in a nursing home. But we had the same doctor, and the doctor said, you promised her that while she was, she was healthy, and now you have these children. And he said, you got gas. She could turn on the gas while y'all sleep or light a cigarette, and you would never know, and your whole house is burnt down. So she ended up running away. She ran to not ran, but she ended up walking up to the top of my cul-de-sac. Somebody gave her a ride to the train station. My mother had never rode the train in her life. She rode it to the end. They put her back on. At that point, they figured that something was wrong. And then College Park police put her in a taxi cab. She could only tell him that she lived by a school. And so for 3 hours, I looked for my mother. And ironically, who was helping me look was Pam, which is my still husband, ex-girlfriend's baby mama. She was the one helping me look for my mom. So anyway, I made the hard decision to put her in a nursing home. She probably 6 months, when they had to start helping her with standing up to change diapers. That was not my mom. And I knew that she wasn't going to last much longer. And I had the hard decision to tell her it was okay to go. I knew that she was hanging on for me, and that's because we were two peas in a pod. And so not long after that, she passed away. We had already By that time, I was pregnant, had a miscarriage. I was struggling. I was struggling a lot, just with my own mental psyche. My mother was my best friend. Honestly, if it was not for my other two children, I would have climbed in that casket myself and went with her. So, needless to say, we went on, and we had already planned to get married. I think in July he had proposed, and his mother was not happy. She did the nice, nasty thing. But he didn't have a relationship really with her, so that didn't really matter because she wasn't going to be around a lot, so it was okay. So we went on and moved the wedding up. Probably the worst thing I've ever done in my entire life. Never, ever, 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 ever. When you have a traumatic change of life, do not make any harsh decisions. If you are pregnant and had a baby, if somebody died, if somebody got a divorce, do not make any hard decisions. Well, I did not take my own advice and moved the wedding up. We got married on Tybee Island. Friends and stuff came. We had a very good time. And our lives actually just went kind of on back where they were. That following year, he started just leaving. Couldn't figure out where he was going. Oh, I'm over to my mom's house. I need a break. And, he supposedly had two older children, but he wasn't in their lives because of the moms. So he said, I'm only going by what he told me. And so went on, and he kept leaving. So I'm one of those people, I'll give you 150%, but when I'm done, I'm done. And so I told him, I said, when you leave this time, I'm going to need you literally to take your underwear, your toothpaste, your toothbrush, and the rotisserie chicken maker. When I said the rotisserie chicken maker, he knew that I was serious, because I love that rotisserie. I love that rotisserie chicken maker more than I loved him. So, once again, this is not my first rodeo with being a single mom. First thing I said was, thank God I'm not pregnant. And I don't have any ties to this man. I can get a divorce and keep it moving. I told him, when you leave this time, because I knew it was right after Thanksgiving, he was gone. He came back right before Christmas. I said, once you leave this time, just stay gone. And so he stayed through Christmas, but sure enough, before New Year's, he was gone. Part 3.